So the Yankees lost. They dropped the first game of the series against the Toronto Blue Jays by a score of 6-2. Um, the lineup went back to the days where it made an average pitcher look like a three-time Cy Young Award winner. That's what they did today with Steven Matz. They made him look like he was Sandy Koufax, and they could not hit the guy. They couldn't hit the guy. It was frustrating to watch. Very frustrating to watch, especially since all these other games, more patient approach, better hitting, clutch hitting, contact hitting, and today they just look lost. The only person that didn't look lost was Kyle Higashioka. He accounted for both runs, an RBI single and an RBI double, and that was pretty much it for the offense on the Yankees side. But the most significant story of the day was Corey Kluber. He only lasted 3 innings and 58 pitches, and he had to leave the game with stiffness or tightness in his right pitching shoulder. And, that could be a sign of something more serious now. He did say it felt a little different than the kind of targeted specific area from last year. But that said, he's being sent for an MRI, and the next 24 hours they're going to tell us a lot. And they'll tell us a lot whether it's more structural or whether it's not structural. But either way, I would expect him to go on the IL, and I would probably expect Davy Garcia to be called up and taking a spot at least for the next series of 10-day DL, if that's the only length of trip that he needs to go on for. But the next 24 hours will tell us a lot. But I expect the corresponding move to be made either way. When it comes to a pitching shoulder, I don't think it's going to be a day-to-day thing, particularly when he's coming off a long stretch of injuries. And this is why I've said for months now that extra pitching insurance, an extra starter, an extra something, a long reliever, a spot starter, something, would be a good idea. This is where it comes in handy. So, as much as Davy Garcia can be productive and spot 90, he's still 21 years old and he's still not that very experienced. So I do expect them now to increase the level of urgency to bring in a pitcher of some kind, as well as probably a left-handed batter, a switch hitter, or something. But the pitching now the situation has become more urgent immediately because of Corey Kluber's situation. And my fear, and I also said this before in other videos, was that either him or Tyon would eventually probably go down with some kind of injury in their pitching arm. But even though it's not a forearm, or inside of the elbow, which could be precursors to Tommy John shoulders, can be just as damaging and concerning. So, we're kind of been waiting on pins and needles for the next 24 hours or maybe 48 hours, but more likely 24 to get a better idea of Kluber's situation. It might be just inflammation, but he couldn't get loose, is what he said today, and it just felt heavy and kind of dead. So it could be a precursor to something else. We just don't know yet, but I expect the Yankees to make a pitching move in the next 24 hours, regardless, because I don't see a scenario where he's not going to go on the disabled list and the IL. I keep calling it the disabled list because it was the DL for so long, but the injured list. Excuse me. He's got to go on there. I mean, this is coming off a long stretch. They've got to nurse this, just like they're nursing Giancarlo Stanton with a leg strain or a tight quad. And they're still saying he's not ready. So this is how fragile baseball injuries become so quickly. And this is also where depth pieces come into play. And it's one reason I've recently chosen more cost-effective options in terms of the trade market instead of blockbuster trades, because they're only a few $1 million under the $210 million threshold. And until Hal Steinbrenner says you can exceed the threshold, and I don't see him doing it, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't see him doing it, because it'll reset their penalty to back down to 20% for next year so they can be aggressive in the free agent market this offseason. This is why a more affordable option on the pitching end and the offensive end with a left-handed batter, switch hitter, whether it be a trade or something. It's possible to bring in one of each, and still stay under the threshold. Obviously, there'll be some offsetting salaries to help facilitate that, but that's why I've been kind of proposing the trades that I have been proposing. Some people think I'm nuts, but some of those guys that I proposed fit the criteria, and I've said that recently too. They fit the criteria of the production they need, the bat they need, the positional flexibility they need, and the payroll flexibility that they need to stay under the threshold. I see, and Cashman has a long history now of making his biggest moves in the offseason when it comes to blockbuster trades, and more moderate or incremental ones at the trading deadline. So, but we'll see now. The ball game is different now, especially now they've been climbing up the ladder in the American League East. They're just pretty much right behind Boston. And do they really want to have their momentum disrupted that much with a significant injury to Kluber? I don't know. So are they willing to wait it out? I don't know. Is Davy Garcia going to be the answer temporarily and for the foreseeable future? We don't know. But at the end of the day, I can't think of a starting pitcher behind Davy Garcia in the stable right now that can come in and contribute. Clark Schmidt's not healthy yet, so he's got healthy and he's been having setbacks, so can't rely on him. So who else is there? Is there? I don't know. So I expect them to probably speed up the pace in which they're going to try and facilitate a trade for a controllable starter with some experience, a veteran who can throw innings or something. To give them that extra depth because of situations like this. We didn't expect this to happen, especially last game. He threw a no-hitter and he looked great and stuff, and today he just couldn't manage 2-3 innings. So, but this is the nature of the game with starting pitching too. It happens, and especially with guys with a recent history. They kind of they reset themselves, and the history can repeat itself. So, and it's rearing its face right now in the Corey Kluber situation. So, let's see what happens over the next 24 hours, and look at what the Yankees might do and stuff like that. I'll keep you fed in on updates or rumors and things like that. I haven't heard anything more about the line of the Shield situation ever since a few days ago when they were talking to the Rangers about potentially facilitating a trade. I talked about that in my most recent video in the description, so take a look at that if you haven't seen it, with regards to Clint Frazier and Miguel Andujar. So now we're in purgatory right now. And yeah, it stinks that the Yankees lost today after a nice winning streak, but hopefully the news is not going to be as bad as it could be. And I'm really hoping that that's the situation and he's only shut down for a little bit and it's maybe just inflammation or something. But we'll see. We'll see. So keep an eye out. I'll keep you fed, and I guess on the information of what's going on in Yankee world, and I'll obviously be doing a post-game recap tomorrow as well. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.